welcome. Bear with me for a second as oh, nice. Unseen Shadow King has beat me to it. We'll be kicking off in about 1 minute. Romanov will be joining us, and today we are going to take a look at all of the Beam feature requests, and if we get time, we'll dive in a little bit to the Beam bridge and look at the bridges in general. But we'll kick off in about 1 minute. Here he is. So we are good to go.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good, very good.
Oh, amazing.
Getting very cold here now, though.
Oh,
Winter is well and truly upon us.
not just the crypto winter, but actually the real one.
Yeah, the ecosystems are aligning.
I see. So the weather has finally caught up with the financial climate.
Yeah, hopefully one of the two or both of them are better soon.
Yeah, understood. Great. So yeah, we will wait for more people to join, and we have quite a lot of things to talk about. We are going to talk about the feature requests, and we have a lot of things to discuss there. And also we're going to hopefully talk about bridges, which is the announced topic, but we will definitely start with some R&D updates and cool. A lot of action this week. Very interesting.
Yeah, a lot on the Beam front with the features request going live earlier this week. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. And we've seen a very big amount of feature requests coming in and a lot of discussion around them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, a lot of new project assets. Amazing. A lot of activity. Yeah, so we'll wait for a couple more minutes and allow people to join in, and we will get started. Um, in the meantime, um, Twitter.
Twitter, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't actually track the entire situation, but there is like, I don't know, every day, like a new crazy story pops up. Like today, there was a story that Twitter employee selling verification marks for lots of money.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this was like semi-known as well at the time. Like I know people that were always talking about like being able to get verifications and this kind of stuff, and so it made a bit of a joke of it.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's really crazy. And also, like, I don't know, all of these new Elon Musk things. I hope something is left from this platform when he's done with it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't think too many things happened. Few other look projects were hacked. Few others kind of, I don't know. There's some crazy activity. We'll focus on Beam, which also has a lot of activity. So let's get started. I see people. I hope one of the first things that Twitter will improve is the ability to see the exact amount of people who are currently in the chat, because I only see like some amount, and then in the statistics there are completely different numbers. It's very annoying, but I hope they will fix that. Okay, so let's get started. So on Monday in the newsletter, I think it was, we published our procedure for Beam feature requests. And since then, we had 12 feature requests, which is great. Obviously, we will not have time to go over all of them, but I do want to address many of them because they are very relevant, very interesting. And we start with actually the first one, which was a bit surprising for me. First of all, it was from John Trump. And for those of you who are not familiar with Green, John Trump is a computer scientist, one of the key contributors to Green project. He developed their mining algorithm, and he actually suggested tail emission for Beam. As you know, right now, Beam emission is capped, and it's reduced every 4 years using periodic halving, just like Bitcoin. So this suggestion was actually published as a comment in the original post. So it was assigned FR1, which is our kind of numbering system that we will use for feature requests. They are kind of accepted into the discussion, not accepted for implementation, but once we recognize the feature request as something that we want to discuss and eventually vote on, obviously this is a big deal. It's the change in the Beam consensus, so it's going to be implemented. If it will be implemented, it will be implemented in a hard fork. And as we said in the document, all these, like all changes that will require a hard fork will be voted on chain. So this is like the first one. If you haven't read it, please go to the original post, check out the comments, and in general, check all of the feature requests that sound or look interesting to you, because even though there were a lot of feature requests, there were actually less kind of discussions or comments about them. So obviously we will talk about these things today. Maybe we were talking about creating a separate Twitter space just for R&D updates and discussions, but today we will use this time that we have now. And if you like it, obviously click the like button so we know how much interest each feature request is getting, and also add a comment, whether you support it or not, whether you think it should be improved, etc. So this is the FR1 from John Trump. I obviously like, there are different emission models. We have chosen ours because we wanted to have this kind of capped emission, more suitable for store of value back in the day. But times change and situations change, so obviously it can be very interesting to consider different models going forward. Tail emission is obviously one of the more kind of interesting and obvious ones to think about. So please voice your opinion in the forum by liking and commenting to this suggestions. So what is tail emission? You like it?
I don't know. I think it's definitely interesting and worth talking about. And also, this is one thing that Trump himself has brought up a few times, either in the forum or on Twitter, about how will Beam kind of maintain its security after the proof of work stipend, I don't know the right word for it, runs out,
yeah,
or reaches zero. I think it's a very interesting topic to discuss. But I do feel, well, I don't know. I feel it's probably far enough in the future that for now it doesn't need like massive amounts of attention and debate and this kind of stuff. If it's done in the future, it'll make more sense and it'll be, well, people will have a better idea as to the need for it and this kind of stuff. But one of the things is if Beam grows and gets bigger, which we all see it doing, then it will be more difficult to get consensus on such a hot debated issue, I think.
Yeah, obviously. So we will need to carefully both discuss this with the community and also carefully design the voting process, because BMX is not like properly distributed as of right now. Only a small amount is kind of already allocated to the community, so we will need to at least have this vote in like proper conditions. So oh, somebody bought a big motorcycle in your neighborhood.
Absolutely, yeah. The neighbors are going crazy as usual. Yeah, I think that's a good point as well. Like, and also, I mean, yeah, totally agree. Sorry, the motorbike distracted me.
Um, yeah. So okay. So other feature requests that I would like to talk about focused on two main areas. The first area is the confidential assets. And I will start with these, and then we will talk about the second part, which is about NFT marketplace and NFTs in general. So after the release of the 7.2, which had the asset swap marketplace, this feature, in my opinion, was used a lot, and it proven itself to be very kind of very useful, very like actively kind of I have to stop saying the word used. So yeah, it's a great feature. However, it did surface some issues that we didn't handle well, both like in the UI. And one of these issues is actually the inability to see properly the asset ID in the swap screen, right? So we now have at least two tokens with the same name, two assets with the same name as other existing assets. One of them is BMX and the other one is Tico. So yeah, we finally have, I would say, like maybe scammers or like on Beam platform, which is interesting. And we do have thought about it in the wallet holding. So when you are looking at your wallet main screen, you have this arrow that allows you to see the exact type of the asset that you're holding. However, we did not show this information on the asset swap screen. And it's an omission. It was opened as a feature request by Beam Assets person or persons. And we are going to release a updated version. I hope it will be released tomorrow. At least we will add it tomorrow. So the first kind of most basic thing we will fix is that inside the asset swap screen, you will be also able to see the ID of the asset. This will, if nothing else, immediately show you which asset ID you're using. In Beam, asset IDs are numeric, it's just numbers. They are not kind of long keys that you have to compare or addresses. So it will be relatively easy to understand which asset you're looking at. And this fix will be implemented as soon as possible, because right now people cannot distinguish between different assets, which are the real ones and which are not. And this makes on the asset swap practically impossible in these situations. I don't even consider this to be kind of a feature. It's more like a bug that we need to fix or a UI omission of sorts. So yeah, so we will do that. So, however, there is a larger discussion which spans around the validated assets, right? The check mark that we kind of invented, and there were several. There are several things to discuss in this situation. So, first of all, the way this check mark is given and assigned, right? And there are like several people who are waiting for this check mark. And we have begun kind of discussing how to properly implement this procedure. I would like to talk about several things. Dr. Rasky, do you have something to say before?
Yeah, it's my friend and I included. We kind of had a question about the stablecoin asset. If you have any information, like on its development and potential release by any chance.
Yeah, I will update on that later. I just would like to kind of go over the feature request first, and sure. I promise I will get to that. Okay. So it's important, like, well, like, you know, for people who are inside Beam and kind of, I don't know, have very narrow, like, I don't know, not narrow, but like have very like sharpened understanding of how things work. It's sometimes difficult to look at the things, you know, as someone who is coming from the outside. And, you know, things in Beam are very different from what people are used to in Ethereum and currencies. So first of all, in Beam, you have two types of confidential assets. You have confidential assets that are created by the wallet, and you have confidential assets that are created by the contract. And the difference between these two types of assets is very important because the confidential assets that were created by the wallet, first of all, before the smart contracts even existed, right? It was kind of the era before the smart contracts. And any confidential asset that was minted by a wallet can be minted in any amount at any time. So for example, if somebody says, oh, I have created an asset that will only have 10,000 units, right? Never prohibit this person from minting more. Now, this mint will be visible on chain. You will always be able to explicitly see in the Blockchain Explorer when these assets were minted. However, you have to, first of all, watch for these things. And second, there is absolutely no mechanism that can prohibit this, okay? So you will have to rely on the word of that person that actually this amount that was announced will ever exist, okay? And this is obviously a problem. Now that we have smart contracts, we have a much better way of creating assets, but it's not, or it was not until today, implemented as a usable service, right? So for example, BMax is minted by a contract. So you can be absolutely sure that there will be exactly the amount of BMax that was announced because of the code of that contract, and you can always verify that the contract is programmed in a way that allows minting additional assets. So this is kind of the first very important distinction that you need to make when you look at the asset, whether it was created by a contract or not. And as of right now, this information is not readily available, nor in the Explorer, not in the wallet. So this is the first kind of important distinction that we will have to make much more obvious. The second thing that we thought about doing is instead of kind of forcing people to deploy their own contracts, like obviously it's possible, but you have to write this contract, you have to verify, to audit it, you have to show it to other people. It's complicated. So one of the ideas were suggested by the community, and I think it's a great idea, and I really would like to do it, to actually have it done, is to create a DApp, which will allow you to mint your own confidential asset in the amount that you state when you are minting it, 100 million, billion, whatever the number that you want. And this asset will be enforced by that minter contract to be minted only in that specific amount. And this information can be easily shown both in the application itself, in the DApp, and also in the Blockchain Explorer. And once we have verified this one contract, you will be sure that this specific asset can never be minted again. And you can rely on the finality of that number that was stated. This is the first advantage. It will automatically get the check mark because the check mark is not kind of, we're not testing a project, whether it's a rug pull or not. We're not talking to people to understand what they're doing. We just want to make sure that this asset will not disappear, like it will not be burned completely, and that it will not be minted infinitely, right? That's our kind of goal in this situation. And that's why, in my opinion, this solution of having decentralized, but central minting mechanism that will allow you to see all of the assets, to see exactly the amount that was minted, and make sure that it's immutable, will simplify this entire process of understanding like what this asset is, how much of it will ever be created, without basically infringing on any, neither on the privacy, obviously, because nobody knows who is the, and also you have this all in kind of one list of assets. So it's very similar to ERC20 with a minter contract for kind of, making, laying it in Ethereum terms.
This is cool. And I think that this is a very good use case to be able to, or rather a very good tool to be able to mint like an asset and have it with a capped amount. Because if I understand correct, up until now, you've kind of had to trust the issuer that they won't issue more of it.
Yeah, exactly. So this is something that I will also formulate in terms of a feature request, because I thought it was someone, but I don't see, maybe I'm missing it, but I don't see this feature request already created. And I think it will be very convenient. Right now we have Well, it's not 27, but we have like up to ID 27 of how much is missing. We need to add a count, but we have like 20 something different assets already, right? And I think like organizing them into this kind of very explicit Minter contract will be great. One of the things we can also do, if you already have an asset that was created using a wallet and you want to reduce the trust in the asset, you can actually convert it. So you can remint it using this contract. So you basically allow people, you create a new asset with fixed amount in the contract, and then you allow people to swap the specific asset type that you emitted using your wallet into your new asset type, so that they're always sure that they're holding this proper kind of contract created asset, right? So it's going to be very convenient. And Amir pointed out here in the chat that, yeah, it's going to be a DApp. It's going to be a decentralized application running in the wallet with UI, no longer running command line with arguments or using Blockchain Explorer to create this command line with this helper that we created. It will be a DApp that is very easy to use. Anyone can use it and create a reliable asset using this contract. So that's the idea. Yeah. So regarding the process of token verification, somebody asked in Twitter. So once again, once we have this contract, I hope it will be soon, then automatically all of these assets are verified. Regarding the name, so this is actually a discussion that we had when we designed financial assets. Gus, you want to say something?
No, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. You just had.
I think the checkmark verification helps because that's what somebody created a fake BMX asset, and the only way to,
exactly. So that's the point that I would like to discuss, because there was a very specific suggestion from. 1 second, let me find this. I just want to be sure I'm quoting all things correctly. Scrap current verification model. Yeah, from Kexploit.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, before we talk about this, like, why did we allow duplicate names to begin with? The reason we allow duplicate names is to avoid a situation where somebody hijacks and, like, I don't know, whether it's BTC or whether it's like you know, DAI or USDT or whatever, and then nobody can use this name, and this name is kind of lost forever, right? So what we said is we're going to create an ability to multiple assets with the same name. And by the way, in Ethereum, it works the same. Like, you also can create any amount of similarly named tokens. But what actually identifies the token in Ethereum is the address of the contract. In our case, is the ID. And obviously, when we say, okay, now this is the original BMX, this is the BMX that we all know and like, we are going to assign this verification mark to distinguish it from other BMXs that are not, right, the copycats. So what Kexploit suggested is basically saying, instead of doing this entire process that depends on Beam team reviewing things, right? Just allow us in the wallet to specify the ID and the name of the contract that we want to see. And then others that will not be in that list will not be visible, or will not be actually kind of, you know, obstructing the view of the real assets. And it's a great idea. I will quote here from his suggestion. Create a system where hyperlink can enable the asset in the wallet, similar to how hyperlink can open Telegram and navigate to a group. And you just confirm it by clicking add asset. And alongside this, have a section in the wallet where users can choose from the confirmed ownership assets to integrate into the wallet. So basically, you have two lists. You have a list of all of the assets, and then you have a list of the assets that you have added, and you only see the added items. And these are the items that appear in the swap wallet, in the swap offers, I'm sorry, and others are just not there. So I think it's a very good idea. and we will definitely add a specification to implement it. I don't think we need a hyperlink for that, so you can just basically have a full list in your wallet and just click the assets that you want. I do think we'll still have keep the original check mark just to indicate which assets were kind of more, I don't know, confirmed, in terms of their kind of originality or validity or whatever. Because not always the first asset that appeared will be the original one, right? Somebody can take the, I don't know, USD something name or like some existing project name, and then this project will come to Beam and mint their own assets. So obviously they will reach out, they will say, listen, this is the asset. And yeah, they will contact the community, they will publish the ID of their asset. But still, when the person is first time adding this asset from the list, they still need to be able to understand which of these IDs are the correct ones. So they will Google it, they will check it in the community. We might even maintain some kind of a kind of asset list, even as a pinned post or something, maybe on the website. We can definitely do it inside the Blockchain Explorer. It's also a good idea. So I totally agree with the suggestion. We will edit. I will create the specifications as a reply to this post, and we will add it to our feature requests kind of list. We will discuss it, and I think it's a great idea. It will make things much simpler in terms of distinguishing between different asset types. And yes, definitely you don't need to see assets that are, by the way, this person who created the fake Tico, he found a very nice way to spam people with this token by using the addresses found in the in the asset swaps. So suddenly you have two Ticos, the original one and the fake one, or like the non-original one, and then oh my God, that's it. You have to move.
Just as I was going to say something, the police the police are chasing me. I wanted to ask, did they get like I saw briefly about the person that was spamming the fake assets to people, and is this from the transaction info in the swap screen where you see the sender? So if someone creates an asset swap offer, in the transaction info, you can see the date, you can see the sending address, receiving address, and is it one of those addresses that they're spamming assets to? Is this how they found it?
So yeah, I would imagine something like that, because once again, this information about the offers, it's sent using the SDBS broadcast.
Yeah.
So it's not private. Obviously, you don't have any identifying information, but the addresses can be seen and can be used. Yes, I don't know if it was I don't know how many people were like involved in this. Like how many addresses did he use? Maybe he did manually pick a few, or did he do some scraping and found them? But it's definitely an issue that we want to address in the UI of the wallet, to be able to say, listen, you see this asset? I don't want to see it anymore. Hide it from me, it's not relevant.
And the wallet almost already has this as well. If you open your wallet and you can see the asset swap screen, if you click on the specific asset, say Beam, Raise, Crown, XTico, I can click on the little toggle up in the top right, selected. It's either all or selected. And if you click selected, it will only show you the assets that you want. So I guess like the feature that Kex is talking about is almost like an extension on this functionality as well.
Yes, it's basically taking this setting from this screen and making like a more of a settings, general wallet settings.
Yeah.
And the feature that you have just mentioned also appears in feature requests. It was actually it was asked for Beam assets that you can do like kind of select asset and just see all the swaps. So probably this was not very obvious in terms of usability, that you can click on the filter above. But once again, maybe we will either, I don't know, create some kind of a tutorial, maybe publish a few screenshots so more people can understand. So I will reply and I will provide screenshots of how today. I don't know if it's convenient enough. Maybe we'll have to improve it. But yes, it's possible to filter out, I think, relevant. You know what? I look at it here and it doesn't seem to work as it should. Maybe it's just buggy. Anyway, we will check this out and we will definitely figure out why or how it should work. No, you know what it does? I see here, I can get 1,000 OINC for 100 beam. Seems like a bargain. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so this pretty much covers, I think, the portion of the feature requests that are related to asset swaps. Once again, when the DEX will be out, it will be even greater, but it's still in the works. Just to answer the Dirty Rascals question and not to keep anyone hanging, like from what I understand, first of all, Nifrit, which is the stablecoin project, is still working and testing things. I'm not sure about the exact release date, but from what I understand, it's moving along, and I hope it will be released in the next, I don't know, short period of time. Like I don't know about any major problems. The bridges are also, which is released by Beam team. They're currently in the thing. We are still finding some issues and fixing them. So once again, no specific date on that, but I hope this week things will clarify. And also the DEX is right behind it, right? So DEX is already in implementation. It was not yet released to DAppNet, but I hope it will be, and then we will be able to play with it and see how it works. Yeah.
And for the DEX, is this based off of a decentralized exchange that's already out in the wild?
Yeah, it's a classic Uniswap V2 style, very simple, tokens and all that. Yeah, nothing special.
I got a question about the
Sure.
NFT market. So I've noticed that VS Nation's NFT market, I guess it uses a different contract, and I went ahead and ported some of my Beambots over, and I guess it's e-reverse. They're going from the Beam's official NFT marketplace. Is it going to become like a two market competition type thing, or is the Beam market also going to port over to the new contract, or how is that going to work out?
Great question. Great question, and there was a lot of discussion in the community about that, so I just want to clarify the situation and how it's going to work. First of all, VS Nation is a community member, a very active community member. He's implementing his projects with our support as much as we can. And there is absolutely no relation between the two marketplaces, right? The Beam smart contract and the marketplace inside the wallet is our implementation, and VS Nation has his own completely independent implementation. So we do have like two competing or whatever marketplaces, right, which have absolutely no relation whatsoever. So Beam is not migrating to the VS Nation ones, and VS Nation is not migrating to Beam ones. It's two different projects, one implemented by Beam team and the other implemented by a community member. That's the first kind of important thing to understand. In terms of functionality, since VS Nation has invested a lot of efforts in building additional functions that Beam Marketplace currently does not have. So there are some things that are possible in VS Nation Marketplace, which are yet not possible in Beam Marketplace, right? So in terms of functionality,
is it token drops and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, token drops. And we do have a feature request that I will discuss in a minute from Beambots about the token drops in Beam Marketplace as well. But before that, I'm not 100% like sure on all the technical details, but in general, there are no really irreversible things, right? So you have basically, if you transfer your NFT ownership from one address to another, it can always be returned back. Now, sometimes, like, if any kind of technical issues arise that we need to resolve to make things like that possible, we can always work with VS Nation and solve them. We do have a lot of kind of interesting things that we didn't yet implement. So
Yeah,
technically it shouldn't be a problem.
I think it would be cool, like if there was some sort of a reverse bridge contract to where I can port my back over to the original Beam marketplace and not miss out on my airdrops or whatnot, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that would kind of help a lot of people who went ahead and kind of pulled the trigger earlier or whatnot, thinking that that's, you know, it would be just nice to have a doorway in between.
Understood. So first of all, everything that is done in VS Nation's marketplace is done by him on his marketplace, and you need to very kind of thoroughly understand what it means, because Beam team is not part of that project directly. We do provide support, but we don't make any decisions there, and we you know, except for very obvious kind of things, we don't have a lot of influence. So it's, you know, just talk things through, understand what is actually happening, which processes are reversible and which are not. Now, in my opinion, technically everything can be reversible, but you know, we need to understand the specific implementation. So yeah, like be sure you understand what you're doing, like in a good way, right? Like it's not something bad is happening, but sometimes like some things are implemented and some are not, and just, you know, you need to understand what's going on, because when you are moving your NFTs between marketplaces, they do change ownership, right? Like explicitly. So this is something that you need to take into account and understand exactly what's happening and how it works. If you have any questions, you can ask VS Nation directly always. I think he will be happy to answer. Do this before you make any decisions, and always understand what you're doing. And this is like in general the world, right? Like, not about VS Nation, like in general. We are starting to get more and more attention, more applications, both centralized and decentralized. So, you know, just make sure you know what you're doing. Regarding the ability to airdrop to holders of NFTs. Now, this is something that Beambots actually requested in a feature request. And this is something that they promised their community for a long time, and they've been waiting patiently for Beam to implement this feature, which we haven't yet done. However, there are some good news here that I would like to discuss. So first of all, we think that we found a very interesting and genius, in some sense, way to implement this without changing a contract. And the way we can do it is to use the smart contract that we already have for bonds. So bonds have two parts. Bonds have this kind of part where you buy the actual address. And the second part is the anonymous vault. The anonymous vault allows you to send funds to another user through this vault without kind of exposing any information. Which is very, very, very nice. And we use it in Bands. So when you send funds to another user through Bands, you're actually using this vault to store the actual funds. So what we are going to do, we're going to update the client side of the NFT marketplace. And we will allow to send fund holder of the specific NFT using the same key material, the same key that was generated to own this NFT. So basically, the same key that currently holds the NFT for that user will also hold the funds in the anonymous vault. And this is how we will be able to implement the airdrop for the holder of the NFT. Now, in Beambot's case, it's a little bit more complicated because they want to airdrop to previous holders of NFTs, not just the current one. So if you held, for example, the Beambot's NFT for a period of time, sometime in the past, you still be able to get airdrop. So this is also possible because, once again, the blockchain has this information and we can extract it. But the only kind of question there is whether this person still has access to this wallet or to this specific address. Not address, but rather like to these keys that were generated to hold this NFT. Because if you have deleted the wallet or created a new one with a new seed, you will not be able to. You had an NFT, you sold it, I don't know, 2 months ago, forgot about it, threw out the wallet, then you wanted to create a new one, you created a new one. That would be a problem. So one of the kind of things that can happen is that you airdrop to the person that no longer has access to those keys. So we will need to think about how to handle that. But at least the airdrop itself, definitely for the current holders and also for past holders, will be possible. And we will work to implement that quickly as well. It's a very good news that it doesn't require upgrade to the smart contract. It will make this feature much easier to implement. We have a speaker, Beam and something.
Yeah. It's Beam NFT Marketplace. Hello, everyone. It's VS Nation.
Hello.
Hey, hello.
Hi. And also, I will be glad to answer all of your questions. And also, I wanted to take a minute, to answer why Beam NFT Marketplace created a centralized version and also outside of the contract. Give me a minute. I will try to check my headphones. It seems like turned off.
Of course. We can hear you very well.
Anybody signing up for that Twitter check mark?
We have a waiting list.
This is the one for $8 a month or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I tried to sign up. I bought the $5 one just because I can post the videos over 2 minutes long. But I don't think it even lets me get the check marks. It's like you got to fit certain criteria still.
Okay. Makes
So
sense.
if your account is a meme account or whatnot, it give you the check mark.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, perfect.
Nice. I would like to tell you about the whole idea of NFT Marketplace and how the idea was created and also how it will come with new updates. So the first question, the most frequent question is why it's not built on Beam contract, because the Beam contract is private and it's not possible to do a reverse transfer of the NFT because it will be difficult to check that the defined user is really owns the NFT. So, for example, if you will deposit your NFT on the Beam NFT Marketplace, it's possible only to one way. Definitely you can withdraw it, but you will not be deposited it again. It's how it can be implemented.
Well, can't you just implement it to be able to send it from your marketplace back to Beam's marketplace? If I'm the sender and I can confirm that and I'm sending it out, I could be able to send that to another contract.
No, 1 second. The problem is that you cannot confirm that you are the owner, but what you can do is to the exact same address that it came from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And also, there is a lot of difficulties really to build nice features on the NFT Marketplace. That's why I created the whole idea is I want to create NFT Marketplace that will allow users to make all features they want and to promote all artists who wants to promote their NFTs, to implement their projects and to play games and also implementation of the games. And really, we would appreciate to help the project and also to promote it and to help build games on the Beam NFT Marketplace. We will have a game, Halloween Battle game, as you could see. It will be the first play to earn game on Beam, and it should be really exciting. So all the artists will can see what can be built on Beam, and also we can help them to build other games about their ideas on our marketplace. So it will not be only the NFT marketplace as you think. For example, currently it's like the Beam contract, but centralized and also with the laws that can be implemented. We want to make all of those features and also make a contract on them. So one time when users and artists will not have any questions and also any features in future, we will move everything on chain. We will implement it because NFT contract, to make it definitely decentralized, it shouldn't be able to change, right? It shouldn't have like an admin or someone. It should be built and moderated by the validator. For example, as I think, like to involve validators into NFT contract, you need to build a contract above the contract and also like to connect it between each other. So yeah.
Yeah. So absolutely correct. There are at least two things that are on the to-do list or always were on the to-do list for Beam Marketplace. The first one is about the moderation. So since today, when you open the gallery, you immediately see the list of collections, and we don't have this kind of featured page, right? So anybody can upload anything they want there, and if you just download the Beam wallet, you will be able to see it. This is why we still have this kind of manual approval function. And the way to get rid of it is, there are one of two ways. The first way is to say, screw it and just, let it want. The second is what OpenSea is doing right now. You can find a lot of stuff there using the find function, but you only see the pre-selected kind of featured list when you open the page, right? So if you're under 18, just by accident, you stumble upon OpenSea, you will see nothing offensive. If you look for, I don't know, porn or sex or whatever you want, then you will be able to find it. So this is how it's done, like for moderation. Now, specifically search and also many other features that are present in centralized NFT marketplace by VS Nation, they are difficult to implement in decentralized scenario. Decentralized search is an unsolved problem. So we do have to either do some kind of combination of centralized and decentralized features, or we need to, I don't know, invent something new. So definitely there's parity between the two marketplaces. But once again, both of them will continue to exist. They will not migrate into one another. So yeah, like we are adding our features from our roadmap, and VS Nation is adding games and other stuff. Other than that, I think we can happily coexist and make use of the best possible technologies for each scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say that the version 2 NFT marketplace that VS Nation created, the UI is just the whole how it feels and everything else is just excellent. It's really good. That's why I kind of got excited and jumped the guns and ported my Beambots over. But it'd be nice to maybe other artists to kind of like spread their art between the two platforms too, I guess, so that way both can get the best of both worlds. You know what I mean?
I agree. Let's move on, because we do have some features to discuss. But let's do it. We'll have a discussion about that in the community, and we will figure a way to make everything work, or as much as we can, at least. If it's okay, I do have some additional things about NFT to discuss, because there were some additional feature requests, which are, in my opinion, very important. Okay, I'm moving on.
I wanted one note,
yeah,
and that's it. My idea is like to connect. We should connect Beam into the crypto world, like to open the gateway between, for example, EVM and also like Beam. And so I want to implement on NFT marketplace that will allow like lock and mint. For example, you will lock your NFT on the contract and also reveal it on the EVM chain. It will allow you like to buy and to trade NFTs and also to transfer it cross-chain. It will help Beam, and also it will open new opportunities to everyone. Like, for example, it will not be like a closed circle that that could be.
No, I totally agree, Gus.
I just want to say that uh, a closed circle, what you mentioned before. I mean, if you're creating a centralized platform where you can't withdraw your assets, that's creating a closed circle by definition. I mean, you can't leave it. And
No,
also, in my opinion, it's not really doing anything massive for the Beam ecosystem either.
one second, one second. Let's not get started on that because first of all, yeah, I totally agree that we can add locking mechanism that will allow you to do some kind of bridging on NFTs. That's not a bad idea, right? And there are some things that are very difficult to do in a centralized way. That's why, that's why centralized things still exist. So let's figure out like what we can do in the best possible way and move on. And one thing that I would like to address in terms of like really, in my opinion, useful features for Beam NFT market, the limited edition NFTs. It was raised by Rascool, and what it basically means is that you can mint an NFT with instances. So the number can be either like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, which is basically of limited edition. So you can have 10 copies of the same NFT. However, it can also be used in an additional interesting way when the number is large, like for example, 1,000,000, then you can create NFTs which can be treated as sort of banknotes, right? So you have this, I don't know, a billion of NFTs of I don't know, some kind of currency, except it's not breakable into smaller pieces, right? So it's basically can treat it as a banknote. And then you can do some additional interesting things with it, like for example, create NFT DEX. And I understand that examples already exist of such DEXs when you can put some amount of NFTs on one side of the pool and then have trade it against some confidential asset on the other side. So it opens up a lot of different possibilities. And another improvement that is actually quite easy to implement because I think it's already supported in the contract, it's only not exposed in the UI right now, is the ability to set prices for NFTs in other types of CA other than Beam. So the combination of these two functionalities, I think, will greatly improve the kind of amount of different uses for NFTs, right? So you will be able to mint many instances or many copies of the same NFT and also to set their prices in other confidential assets and not just Beam.
This is going, I think, important, like to be able to trade NFTs in whatever assets, whether it's Pico or Beam or BeamX or State Fright when it's out, this kind of thing. The position by Rascal about the NFT marketplace that you just mentioned, I think this is also a really interesting idea and creates some ways to really play around with like what's there and what's happening as well. There's a few examples from like I was meant to throw it into the forum to point me one just as a reference, and there's a few on Ethereum that are kind of interesting to check out, and you can kind of take the NFT and tokenize it into a how to say a confidential asset in our case, which is the likes of NFTX, which I think is doing that, like tokenizing the NFT so that they're fungible and have a pool of NFTs that you can kind of exchange your fungible token with. And another one is SudoSwap. I think I mentioned it to you the other day, Alex, and that's kind of like NFT version of Uniswap v3. And I think these both would be very cool to see in the Beam ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we are almost at the hour mark, and obviously we didn't have time to talk about bridges in too much depth, which is okay because we did talk a lot about the feature requests. Just to summarize, and I have some requests and from the community. First of all, it's been an amazing week, right? A lot of feature requests, a lot of activity. Keep it up and keep them coming, right? We are like very, excited about, having this process organized, and so far it's doing great. What we're going to do in practical terms. So first of all, as I said, we're going to implement this omission of asset ID from the asset swap screen. That's the first thing. The second thing, because it's relatively easy to do, we're going to create an ability to set prices for NFTs in confidential assets because it's already implemented in the contract and it's just a UI fix. For everything else, we are going to do the following steps of the process as it is described in the forum. Basically, create a specification, discuss it together during the week and definitely next week in the space, and assign a bounty and prioritize it to move forward. Please go into the forum. Please review the feature request. Click like on the ones that you like. Leave comments if you have any additional suggestions, ideas, or objections. Whatever you have to say, please say it. You obviously can also always express your opinion in Twitter or in Telegram, but it's very useful to have all of the kind of important things in the forum because they stay there. They're easier to review for me and the team, and we can address specific questions and talk about very kind of specific details. Sometimes the conversations in the community chats are lengthy and go in different ways, more difficult to monitor. So yeah, the forum I think is a great model for that. So use it. And we're moving. Yeah, a lot of great stuff to come.
Yeah, and honestly, like in the first week of the Beam feature request being up, I'm surprised and taken aback by the amount of ideas and this kind of stuff coming from the community, and it's great to see and hope to see more of it.
Definitely.
And also, sorry, I will add a note. If you will have 5 minutes, I mean, we can talk about the centralized marketplace, and I will show you that there is no difference with current Beam contract, and also it's not the closed circle, Gus, as you mentioned, because I don't know how to say it, but
I hear a VS Nation Twitter space coming. That's what I hear.
Okay.
I will definitely join. So organize it and let's talk about your marketplace as well. It's great.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. And yeah, we'll see you next week and during the week. And we will update you on the upcoming releases.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.